Chris did a quick calculation. That was just over half an hour's drive from the village, closer than many rural calls for service. Get him out here as fast as you can. Have you got internet in the village at least?
Yeah. No cell phone, but we got internet.
Good. I'll take some photos on my phone, and Amanda, you email them to Poker-Ass, so he has an idea what he's dealing with. He could see her opening her mouth to protest, so he shook his head sharply. It might take some time for the team to get here. So meanwhile, Casey, I want you to bring me a couple of tarps, some plastic bins, and, I don't know, markers of some kind, tent pegs or little flags, and tow a second boat over with you so I'll have some transportation. Casey nodded. He was looking slightly green and seemed grateful for the chance to escape back down to his boat. Amanda, on the other hand, was standing in the path expectantly. What? He said. What are you waiting for? The photos? And if I'm going to email them to Sergeant Poker-Ass, I'll need your phone. His eyes met hers. Such an idiot, he thought, and forced a sheepish laugh. I knew that. A ghost of a smile curved her lips. And I'd like Poker-Ass's real name and number. Calling him Poker-Ass, however tempting, probably won't get me very far. Sergeant Amos. He fished in his pocket for the man's card and entered the phone number in his phone. Then he circled the body and took a couple of dozen photos with the phone. Still photographing, he headed back down the path, searching the ground and underbrush for evidence. He knew the evidence had probably been trampled by the dog and the three of them, but he took photos of stains and gouges anyway. The forensic team could decide for themselves if they were of any use. Amanda watched him curiously, but without comment. At the cabin door, he signaled to her to stay outside while he inspected the interior once again. It looked as if the attack had taken place in the main room, where the attacker had dropped the axe. Had the killer simply left Stink to crawl for help with his last dying efforts? Or had Stink been trying to escape from him when he headed up the path into the bush? If he'd been crawling for help, he'd gone in the wrong direction. Amanda poked her head through the open doorway, averting her eyes from the axe. Can you tell where the killer went? It's probably safe to assume he took Stink's boat. You should tell the police that, too. I'd rather stay with you. She looked determined, but the faint quaver in her voice betrayed her. He shook his head. I can help, Chris. Kaylee might be able to help, too. Remember, if it weren't for her, we'd never have known there was anything wrong, and we'd never have found Stink. You can't stay. This is a crime scene. But we've already tromped all over it. He straightened to confront her. You know why. Her gaze wavered and she looked away. There were two boats, so two different people. Only one is the killer. Unless that debris we saw yesterday was the second boat. If he swamped that one, he didn't do this. I know him. When it comes to crimes, we can't assume a thing. I can. Phil would never, ever swing an axe at another man's head. He walked over to her. He wanted to touch her, to reassure her, but he merely looked down at her. I'm as worried as you are, but Stink's boat is gone, and Phil was last seen coming this way. Amanda tamped down her anger and forced herself to be charming. She knew her anger had more to do with Stink's death and her own fears than with the prissy little Mountie on the other end of the phone. There is no bureaucracy more officious and obstructive than those in developing countries, and she had learned not to be deterred by the initial no, or the second, or even the third. She could tell from the major crimes investigator's initial condescending comments that she was going to have to pull out all those skills to use again. At first, Sergeant Amos had instructed her to report the death through official channels, which meant the Roddickton detachment responsible for that location, so that they could initiate the proper procedure. If the death is deemed suspicious, most of his head is missing. she wanted to shout. They'll be calling you soon enough.